Burnout is coming back. So I've made videos about this topic before, but it's actually been announced now officially, and I can kind of talk about it in more detail. I was going to originally just go through the whole game, everything we know, but Theo already made a video about that like yesterday, so I can't do that. Fuck you, Theo. But his video will be linked down in the description. That will tell you everything you need to know about the game itself. I'm going to talk about why you should be hyped for the Burnout Rebirth, otherwise known as Danger Zone. Now, there's many reasons why you should be hyped. A, it's Burnout's crash mode, but in a dedicated game. Obviously, this comes with a bunch of bonuses. It's not going to be like the other Burnout games where, you know, they use tracks and they kind of just fitted it in. It's purpose built. So all the crash tracks and stuff are going to be purpose built for crashing. This means hopefully it should be a lot more intuitive and a lot more challenging, and hopefully there should be like little kind of secrets they've put into the actual game itself for it to be like the way it is. Overall, you know, it's just going to be a lot more specific and a lot more kind of focused than the other Burnout games were. At least that's what I can take out of what I've read online and whatnot. When you're making a game which is purely about crashing and that doesn't have any racing in, it's going to be a lot more focused, you know, unlike Burnout 3, which had racing and crashing, because then you have to compensate for both. I mean, you'd assume so. Number 2. It's cheap. I think £10 was how much Theo said it was in his video. £10. Why would you not be excited for that? Yes, it's not coming to Xbox One on launch, but that kind of makes sense. 3 Fields Entertainment, they're not a big publisher. They're indie developers. They're spending their own money to make these games. You know, it's one of those things, like, if the games don't sell well for them, then they could possibly close down. They're doing this off their own, you know, will, off their own guts. And they're doing this because they like making games, and that's what they want to do for a living, and they don't want to do it for a big publisher. And I completely, like, I get that, and I appreciate that. And that just, I guess the price is just a big bonus. It's £10. It's an indie game. It's cheap. So even if you don't like it, it's £10. It's £10, and you've supported an indie developer regardless. There's a certain innocence that they have, which not many other companies have at all nowadays. They've literally quit their jobs at EA all those years ago to make this development company to go forward and create racing games. This isn't a racing game, but they have said previously that they would love to make a racing game in the future. So I have no doubt that eventually this would fund a racing game. If you bought Dangerous Golf, which was their previous game, which I actually played on the channel, or if you are going to buy Danger Zone, which is the crash mode game, which is coming soon, you're still supporting them. And there's just an innocence behind that, you know, that big companies don't have. Turn 10, you know, EA, Ubisoft, they don't have that innocence of, they just want to make games. I'm sure they do. I'm sure the people behind it love making games. But when you're pouring your own life savings to make a game, there's just something more which is added to that, which just makes it a whole lot more personal. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure the people over at Forza, the crew Need for Speed, put their heart and guts into it, but they're not putting their life savings into the game. That's where the difference is. They're giving people what they wanted, and they are literally putting their own life savings to do so. To me, that's a really important thing. It's not often, you know, you see stuff like this. Like, developers who are willing to go this far to give me an experience, to do what they love, there's something which is like, I can really trust that, you know. It's not a big third-party company who are coming in with DLC just to milk you and rag you. They are building this game because they love making games. For me, and I hope for you guys as well, that should be enough of a reason to pick up this game, especially because it's obviously a Burnout crash mode game. Hopefully, as a racing fan, I would hope that would be enough to convince you to buy this game. And knowing, hopefully further down the line, we could see an actual racing game come along, well, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's £10. This isn't an advertisement. This sounds like an advertisement. I'm not being paid by them at all. You know, I've only talked to the developer like a few times on Twitter in private messages. I'm not getting paid. This isn't like a sponsorship. I'm just really passionate for what they've got going on. They've really got something cool going on, and something which matters. Like I said before, it's not often we get developers like this who are so devoted to the point where they will leave a big company, they will leave their job to pursue something which, you know, is of a higher personal value to them, and bring back something which people still want. Like, we don't see this at all. Like, this is a niche thing. I've talked about this before many times. So that's another reason, you know, they are really putting their heart and soul into this, and that's something I can really appreciate. As well as this, going back to the gameplay kind of side of things, it is classic crash mode. Although the game has been built around it, it still takes cues from Burnout 3 and 2. It's not like Paradise. Now, as much as I love Paradise, the crash mode wasn't as good. They had to adapt it to the open world, and it didn't have, you know, the whole heartbreaker system. It didn't have money bonuses, like where you picked up money bonuses from certain areas. You know, it wasn't the same as Burnout 2 and 3, etc. But this is classic Burnout 3-esque crash mode. Classic crash mode. So if you liked crash mode in Burnout 3, you're probably gonna like this. It helps for me as well because recently I've been going through Burnout 3 and I've been playing more of it, and it brings me back because of the fact I've been playing it recently, especially on the channel as well. It's just one of the things. It's pretty cool, really. I honestly think the most important thing is just to get the word out. I think the most important thing at this stage with 3 Fields, I've made videos like this before, is just to tell people that this exists. This is a thing. It's on PS4 and PC. You know, in May. It's coming out in May. It's coming out very, very close. And I think it's just important to spread awareness about 3 Fields and what they're doing and, you know, their motives and the way they're going around things. Because it's all good saying, you know, a Burnout spiritual successor thing is coming along and just to promote a video and get a video out. But it's another thing to understand why and they're doing this. This is more than just a game to 3 Fields Entertainment. Like, it's their life. This is their life, like, life's work. I don't want to sound all cheesy and say, oh, this is all they've got in their life, this is all or nothing, because it's just not, you know. If this game doesn't work, they'd probably make another game somehow. But it's important. It's important not just to them, but it's important to me as well. And I feel like I'm not the only one in the community who, when I say, you know, it's important because we should have more of this type of thing. I've got such a passion for, you know, racing games and gaming generally. You know, ever since a little kid, I've always loved games. And to see people who have the same passion for the same, you know, genre, and they're doing a similar thing, like, in terms of making games, actually making the games, I don't know, that's something I can really support. And it's added tenfold by the fact I actually care about the games which are coming out. It's not one of those things where, oh, it's a developer who's making a pool game or a boxing game. They're making car related stuff. They're making car games, car crash mode games. They want to eventually make a racing game. Like, that in itself gets me hyped, and I am going to play this on day one. So if you want to go ahead and support 3 Fields, I'll leave all their social medias down below, all of the developers. Let them know that I sent you, maybe link them the video, and just spread awareness. Let people know that Burnout is coming back in one form or another. Danger Zone, that's the name of the game. Danger Zone. Let people know. Let people know that this is going to be sick. And it just adds to the racing games which are coming out this year. Do I have to say this again? Gran Turismo Sport, Need for Speed, Forza, the Forza Horizon 3 Loop-de-Loop DLC. It just, Project Cars, there's so many, I could carry going on for days. I forgot to mention Dirt, that's coming out June, it's coming out in June. It's mad, there's so many racing games coming out, it's such a contrast compared to last year, where we literally only had Horizon 3. But anyway, that's been it from me. Please spread the word about 3 Fields Entertainment. It would be very important to me and a lot of people in this community. So if you could do that, it'd be much appreciated. All their links are down below. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and make sure to hit the like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe and peace.